So it's the first video of the new season, and who better to bring into the fold than our new head coach at the Fife Flyers, Jamie Russell. Jamie, welcome to the Fife Flyers.
Thank you very much, Ali. It's my pleasure to be here.
And I'm saying welcome to the Fife Flyers, but of course it's literally all change from the ownership right the way through to the team. So I mean, you should kind of be welcoming me in here as well, because I'm kind of coming in from the outside. But yeah, it's great to have you here. We asked the fans for some questions, and we've got a brilliant group of them. So let's jump into that. And of course, the one that we should really open with, and a lot of people want to know this, is, so what is it about the Flyers that attracted you, and what interested you in taking on this job?
Yeah, it's a great question. A number of factors. I've kind of looked at the UK for coaching. I've coached a long time at a lot of different levels. My background, my father was born in Elgin, raised in Elgin. My mother's side of the family is from Maybole, Girvan. So I definitely have very strong roots in Scotland. But kind of what really tipped it this year, I coached in the Alps League last year, and we were in the Continental Cup. And we won the first round. We beat Ukraine, Slovenia, and Croatia, advanced to the next stage, went to Slovakia, played Slovakia, Kazakhstan, and Cardiff. And was extremely impressed with Cardiff, their roster, how they played. They had 15 imports with the team I was with in the Alps. We had 4 imports and 1 Italian Canadian. So that makes a huge difference. And in Slovakia, I had a little bit of an opportunity to spend some time with their staff and ask them about the league, and really impressed with their staff and their team and what I heard about the league. And it was kind of through that process that contact was made with the new ownership in Fife, and had some terrific conversations with Max, and it went from there. So that was kind of the genesis of how everything came about.
So here you are, you're part of the way into the recruitment process. So I mean, the first question, I guess, is how that recruitment is going, and what sort of team can we expect by the time this is done?
Well, we did get a little bit of a late start. There was definitely a process that the league went through in doing their due diligence with the new owners. So they went through everything with in terms of a business plan and finances. So that delayed things a little bit. So we got a little bit of a later start compared to some of the other teams. I think when you combine that with the fact that this is going to be a complete overhaul. We brought Shane Owen back and Jonas Emmerdahl, and pretty much from there it's going to be a clean slate and a full rebuild. So it has been a challenge, definitely in the recruiting process. We've kind of had to overcome the perception of Fife. Like last year was obviously, as everyone knows, a very tough year. So from my perspective as new to the organization, new to the league, it's a rebuild, and I've been through that process before. When I left college hockey and got hired by the Buffalo Sabres to run their ECHL affiliate, it was a complete rebuild. And I kept 1 player from the previous season, ended up trading him over the course of the year. But we had a 13-win improvement and set a franchise record for road wins. And then further down the road, I started an expansion franchise in Worcester. In the ECHL. And in the ECHL, there's no expansion draft. There's no protected list. You're starting with nothing. So it was a complete build from the ground up with Worcester, and we made the playoffs in year 1. 16 teams in the ECHL make the playoffs out of, at that time, 29 teams. So I've been through the process before. That experience in the past is going to help as we move forward. In terms of the type of team, we're definitely going to be a team that is hard to play against, that competes and works very hard. We'll be a physical team. We'll be aggressive in everything we do. We will have a team that plays a little bit more of a North American style, where you're going north and attacking. That all said, we will definitely have some skilled players that will be making plays. We want to be strong on the special teams, but that in a nutshell is how we want to approach the year.
Rod and Dave Cunningham both asked, will you be rolling 4 lines?
Well, that's a really tough question to answer in July. Definitely with the UK schedule, when you're playing back-to-back games with travel on Saturday and Sunday, to go an entire season playing less than 4 lines is difficult. I think part of the answer to that question is our British players. We want to not only have British players that help us this year, but we want to be part of developing British players that help us in the future. So whether that means we're bringing younger players up to practice with us and give them a game or two here or there to help their development. But the style of game that we want to play, the longer bench you use, the more energy you're going to have and the higher pace you're going to be able to play at. So it's going to depend a little bit on how our final roster looks, but we certainly don't want to be a team that's strictly playing 3 players. As a coach, I'm never guaranteeing players ice time. What I will guarantee everybody is you are going to get an opportunity. You're going to be put in different situations to play with different players. And then from there, the ice time that's determined is determined by you as a player. And having been a player and worked with a lot of players at various different levels where you're helping them develop, whether it's going from college hockey to trying to make the transition to pro, or you're in the ECHL trying to climb the ladder to the American League, to the National Hockey League. As a player, you want opportunity. Give me a chance and let me show you what I can do.
Homebred players have always been a huge part of the Kirkcaldy ice hockey scene. And it was always the case that young players would kind of sort of come in basically from as soon as you could put on skates. And you would work your way through the ranks, and the goal was always to get to the Flyers. And that's kind of sort of dropped off in the past few years. How important is that going to be to try and get that going again? I know obviously in the organization you've got Lee Mercer and Stephen Wishart who are part of that. How important is it going to be to kind of get in there and work with those guys and work with the youngsters?
That's going to be incredibly important, not just for this year, but you have to have a global outlook and a long-term vision. And Max certainly has been great in presenting that to me. And we want players that are going to be able to step in and play this year, but we also have to look down the road and what's the team going to look like next season, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. And I've been part of that process in working with NHL affiliations where you're trying to develop players that can play at higher levels. And I'll be completely transparent, and upfront that I don't know the British pool in terms of players. I certainly will have a huge say in the import players that we sign and bring in, whether that's from other countries in Europe, other leagues in Europe or North America. But I'll be dead honest, I don't have a real good handle on the British players, and Max is really kind of spearheading that effort in terms of what the British players look like on our roster.
Flyers 55 asks, what are the key differences or considerations from a coach's perspective managing in the Elite League compared to the previous leagues that you've been involved in? So obviously the college leagues, the ECHL, you had 6 years there, Slovakia, Alps. What are those differences?
Yeah, there's some key differences. If you're comparing the EIHL specifically with the ECHL, you only have a limited number of player cards in the EIHL. So you have to get your recruiting right off the bat. You don't want a turnstile of players that are coming through your roster and your organization, where the ECHL, it's so challenging. The movement between the ECHL and the American League, players going up, it's not unheard of that you have 50 plus players that see time on your roster in the ECHL. That makes it really difficult when you're trying to maintain, create a culture and identity where your roster is constantly in flux. So that's a huge change. Certainly having 15 imports is different for me. When I was in the Extra Liga in Slovakia, it was 7. As I said earlier, in the Alps League, it was 4. So having, the opportunity to have 15 imports on your roster is a big difference.
What are you most looking forward to?
We have a great opportunity, really, with a blank page in a rebuild here, where we want to create a certain culture, a certain identity with our group. We're really looking and targeting character players. And that, to me, is a great opportunity to build something together. It's a partnership between owners, management, staff, and the players, that we want to get this right, and we want to do this the right way. And really having that opportunity to be part of something, to build, to do something together as a group that nobody can do individually or by themselves. To me, that's what makes hockey one of the greatest team sports out there.
And what will success look like this year?
It's a great question, and it's one that I get asked, quite a bit. One of the challenges that we've had in recruiting is players that we're talking to and agents that we deal with. They look at the record last year and they go, "Oh, geez." So that is something, an obstacle and a hurdle that we have to overcome. And I really don't want to put specific goals and numbers in terms of this is success, this isn't success. I think sometimes when you do that, you put a ceiling on how high you can be. Like if I were to say, well, it's a great year if we make the playoffs, but what if we put a roster together that's capable of beating anybody in the league and going on a run? And then what is our ceiling? So I really don't want to put a cap on this is how high we want to go. It's a little bit different in the EIHL, where there's a lot of focus on the regular season. And most of the leagues that I've been a part of is you want to build and keep getting better, so you're playing your best hockey in the playoffs. That's great, but the regular season is so important in the EIHL that, we have to get out of the gates flying. And, definitely with a group that's starting from scratch, is we want to take steps every week. We want to keep building and getting better. But we don't want to start slowly and have to, claw our way up the ladder. So it's a little bit of a challenge in you've got a whole new roster with all new players that haven't played together. How long is it going to take for the group to come together, to develop chemistry, to get to know each other? That's a process for us, and we have to be very mindful of that process.
Does it help in some ways? I know you've just said there that certainly in terms of recruitment, it's not been a help, but does it help the fact that expectations, I guess, are really low? After last season, the expectations are pretty low. I think, winning more than 5 games would be kind of a win. Does that help at all?
It doesn't help me. I'm competitive and I want to win. Our ownership wants to win. Our fan base is starving for success. I've been incredibly impressed with the passion of the fans, just looking at things on social media. And, we want to do things the right way, and we want to win. And we want to do that right from the start.
Jamie, I think everybody's looking forward to meeting you in person in the rink, and there will be plenty of people who will make you feel very welcome when you arrive across here. But for now, thank you very much for taking time to speak to us, and good luck for the season.
Thanks, Ali. I'm so excited to get over to Scotland and meet people and really get started. We want to make this a special year.